Okay, so I've got King here, and I think this is a really important lesson. You know, I think far too much training is done during a test. In other words, there's training for many people consists of going out, setting up a test, running a dog, and then you work on whatever crops up. Oh, he didn't take the cast, so he gets a correction. And then, oh, he went to the wrong bird. You call him back and reset, whatever. In other words, you're using the test to teach everything. My recommendation is to, before that happens, before you set up a test, have some kind of a routine where you have individual training with your dog on things that count: lining, casting, obedience, things that many people think after a dog gets through with basics, they're sort of done with all that. He's out of basics, so now we can do tests, marks and blinds. I think that's a mistake. I think you have to review the individual components that go into a test and making it worthwhile. So this is going to be kind of a long video. So I'm going to do a little routine here with King, and then I'm going to do what I call a drive around test, which is just me and him. There's no bird boys or onlookers or other people, just the two of us. So here we go. So here, one of the things that is really important, I think, is to work on obedience, heeling, etc. So the first thing for me, of course, is to establish focus in me with the game. Ready? Fetch. Fetch. Good. Sit. Out. Ready? Fetch. Sit. Good. Hold. Out. Okay. Ready? Fetch. Good. Sit. Out. Sit. Okay. Sit. Heel. Sit. Heel. Sit. Heel. Sit. Sit. Heel. Sit. Heel. Sit. Okay, so we've done a little heeling. Now I'm going to just do a little bit of sit. Sit. Heel. 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 Sit. 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 Heel. Heel. Sit. Here. Sit. Good. Here. Sit. Sit. So you can dream up anything you want to do. I'm just doing this little miniature just as an example of what you can do. Back. Good. Okay. Heel. Sit. And you can practice casting, lining, 7-bumper lining drill, anything that will break down things that would happen in a test. You know, people say, oh, he should know that. Yeah, he should, but you haven't practiced it, so he's not doing it. So the idea is to do some practice so that they have kind of a review of these things on a regular basis. So it's not like, oh, he's not casting. Well, you haven't practiced in a month, so what do you expect? All right, so the other thing that I do, and I do this almost every day, is what I call a drive around marks, and I do it by myself. So step one on this is you make up a test in your head. I've got, come here, King. Here. Sit. I'm going to put a mark over there, a mark out there, put a mark down there. And I'm going to drive around and do that. One thing we'll do in this film is abbreviate some of the swimming and driving, because otherwise it'll be a 40-minute film. So I'm going to leave King here, and he's going to watch where these birds go, and then I'm going to come back here and run them on this what I call a drive around triple. Sit. The point of this whole thing is, one of the main points is being able to spend time with your dog, just you and the dog, where you can develop some of the language and some of the association that's really required. Okay, I'm gonna sit. Sit. I usually holler sit before I throw, just to make sure he's staying in the same spot. Sit. Sit. Now I picked these marks because there's a lot of details that are important. They're cutting corners, staying off points, going down the shore, all that sort of stuff. Heel. Come on, where's the bird now? Where's the bird? Ready? Ready? Back. So in this mark, what I'm ready to do, prepared to do, is say, oh, forget these other marks. If I have to work on something, I'll work on it right here, because nobody's around. I can take as much time as I want, and I can get a real message loud and clear. But maybe it'll all go perfect, who knows? So okay, good. So this gives me an opportunity to do some detail work where I may get into a situation where it's going to take a lot of time. Maybe I have to repeat this mark 3, 4, 5 times to get it just right. And so if you're in a big training group with 15 dogs or 26 dogs or whatever, getting ready to run, you can't do that. You can't take that kind of time. But if I run into it here, I can. Okay, good. Heel. Sit. Sit. Okay, come up. Sit. Ready? Be careful now. Be real careful. Sit. Back. Here. Now he was confused. He doesn't really know what I'm doing. Here. Here. It's a perfect example of why you do something like this by yourself. I can work on this the rest of the day. Here. Come here. Heel. Sit. You got to get that other corner over there. Sit. Here. Right there. Sit. Back. Here. 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 No. Here. Here. Tiny little corner here. Heel. Sit. Right there. Back. Okay, it's a perfect example that if that happened and I was in a big training group, I'd have to handle a couple of times and I'd be done. I'm not going to do it now, but if I wasn't filming right now, I'd go out there and throw that mark again and keep working on it until he did it perfect from the line. But because it's already getting to be very long, I'm going to just follow through, pretend I re-threw it and did it correctly. Okay, so you pick something that has a lot of elements in it, and then you start the test, and then you stop when you run into a snag and you work on it. This is not something you can do in group training. So that's why this is so critical, to give you and your dog a chance to work on these things, and not just when it's going to be tweet, nick, cast, and hope they remember till the next time it crops up. There you go, good. Okay. All right. Good boy, okay. Sit. 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 Here. Ready? Ready? Right here. Good. Back. You know, some people think it's not good to repeat things, and I'm just curious how a dog would possibly learn something like this without repeating. So anyway, I'm not on a speech on repeating, but it is pretty handy when you're trying to teach something, because what you want to teach is you want to teach and then practice what you've taught. And you can't do it with an audience. You have to do it by yourself. Now he's going to do perfect on this, I think. Okay, so just to be clear, he's made mistakes. So what would I do? I'd get in that buggy and go out there. Sit. Sit. And I'd throw him again. And make sure that when I left here to go to my big group training, he had this information. So, sit. Sit. Heel. Here. He's got a burp. He's a good boy. So, I hope I've made a good point. I know I have made a good point, but I hope you can see it as a good point. Get yourself the skills to do what you might call drive. You could walk too if you had the energy. To me, it's the essence of training. This is when you really are training, teaching a concept, repeating it, practicing it, making a habit out of it. This is what it looks like when you start. Now, I might just pick one of these birds and say, oh, we're going to have to stay here until this is letter perfect. Now, hang on for another message. Very important, and it's coming, and it's a good one. See ya. His body was like beryl, his face like the appearance of lightning, his eyes like torches of fire, his arms and feet like burnished bronze in color, and the sound of his words like the voice of a multitude.